No, I'm going to say, hi, this is, no, that's not going to work either. Hi, my name is Maida, aka BLSongbird.
Yeah, and I'm AVSinger.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is that who I am in this show?
Yeah, you're AVSinger. You could be Mom, aka Mom. Yeah.
I'm AVSinger, aka Mom.
And this is Coffee and Editing. Wait, no, sorry.
Oh.
Editing and coffee.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'm recording this whole time.
I have been.
Oh, that's good.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and check out links in the description because we have both of those, both to her work because she also writes. She doesn't just edit. Mm-hmm. And I am on Wattpad and AO3.
Are we going to read now, or do you have to set up a different screen now?
I am going to end this one.
Oh, okay. We'll be back in just a few moments. What's your main goal for this particular chapter? Yeah, love at Echo Valley.
Love at Echo Valley is... Well, I decided to do it differently today.
Oh.
You're going to read.
Okay.
And then we'll talk after. Because, I want to see, is there, are you going to have a different reaction without any preconceived thoughts about it or not?
Okay. Okay. Do I get to edit as I go along?
Well, no. The editing is there. It's just I'm not giving you a goal. That's all.
No goal, folks.
No goal, folks.
No goal.
0 going in, blind.
Okay, here we go.
Going in blind. Okay, here we go.
Chapter 1. Decision. Pat stared down into Put's eyes. Slowly he leaned closer and gently placed his lips against his. Immediately, the sensation he'd been fighting for months reared its ugly head. He could feel his whole body recoil and try to pull away in disgust. Wait. He could feel his whole body recoil and try to pull away in disgust. He could feel his whole body recoil. Is what try to pull away in disgust is?
His whole body tried to pull away in disgust.
I don't think you have to say that because you said recoil.
Oh,
he could feel his whole body recoil.
Okay. So, and recoil means is a negative connotation.
No, recoil means to try to pull away in disgust.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Recoil is pulling away, and it has a negative connotation. Ew. Yeah, in my head, recoil didn't have a negative connotation. It was just pulling away. So now we're clear.
Okay.
It's gone.
I put a period there.
Okay.
Oh, Pat couldn't place the month or day it started. He thought he loved Put, but his body told him something different. Look,
But his body
told him.
Told him something different.
Right, and the reason she doesn't just go up and click on the suggestion, which you can do if you're actually writing, is because we discovered that when you click on, what's the program that's making the corrections for you? Grammarly, it slows everything down and then our voices don't sync.
Yeah.
And that's really annoying.
It is annoying. Okay.
So, Pat couldn't place the month or day it started. He thought he loved Put, but his body told him something different. He sighed and rolled off Put's body. Put followed,
I'm going to go ahead and remove the word body too.
Off Put. Yeah.
Because body is there was body in the last sentence.
And body in the one before that.
And Put is a body. It's kind of obvious that it's a body.
Put followed. Put a comma after followed. That's what it's asking for.
No, it's not.
What's it asking for?
It thinks put is put as not a name, not a proper name.
Yeah. Put followed.
I still want a comma there. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
And began tracing patterns on Pat's chest. Pat shuddered but allowed it. He wasn't sure what to do. He knew if he pulled away further that it would hurt Put's feelings. Each stroke of Put's fingers felt like insects crawling over his skin. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and sat up in bed. He knew if he pulled away further, that would hurt Put's feelings. Okay, what's wrong? Put asked as he scooted closer. No, you can, see, here's what we were talking about. You don't have to say Put asked. You've already done that by putting a question mark there. What's wrong? Put scooted closer.
Okay. Do.
And touched Pat's back.
Okay.
And touched Pat's back, stroked Pat's back, grabbed Pat's back, patted Pat's... Don't say patted, please.
I'll use the word stroke. I think that's a perfectly legit ass. Stroked.
Pat stood up and headed toward the door. Nothing. I just need to use the toilet. He grabbed his phone off the bedside table and headed out the door. Do you want me to turn out the light? Sure. Thanks, hun. I think hun should be capitalized.
I'm just going through and getting rid of redundancy as we wander along here.
Okay. The toilet was the one place where Pat... Oh, okay. The toilet was the one... I gotta read this straight. The toilet was the one place where Pat didn't have to worry about Put following. Oh, whew. Unlike my cat or you kids, he opened the lid to the pot and sat down. He sat down. He opened the lid to the pot and sat down. Okay, he didn't really need to go to the bathroom, but knew how to pretend. Yeah, but Put's not going to follow him in there.
No, but you can hear things.
Oh. Okay.
That's quite the description there, isn't it? It's like,
wow. I'm like, wow. Okay. He sat there scrolling through social media. He loved food and was always checking the foodie blogs to see if there were any new hot spots in his Seattle neighborhood. Okay, well, we'll just leave that there for now. After about 10 minutes, Pat reluctantly probably went to sleep. Pat reluctantly got up and flushed. It was back to the torment. What was he gonna do? Did he still love Put, or was it just habit and a fear of the unknown keeping him in this relationship? He got back into bed.
Into?
I think so.
Okay.
Tried to take up as little space as possible and stared at the outline of the shark put crochet. Wait, the shark put crochet for
Hard time with this one.
and stared at the outline of the shark.
The shadow.
Wait a minute. See, originally what I'm thinking is that he was sharing a Put's outline, right? Because he's still in bed, or was he he didn't leave, right? He's still in bed, correct?
Yeah, Put's sleeping.
Okay, let me read this again.
He's not facing Put. Why would he?
What was he going to do? Did he still love Put, or was it just habit and a fear of the unknown keeping him in this relationship? He got back into bed.
Yeah.
Period. He tried to take up as little space as possible. That makes sense.
It's angry at me. There's probably doesn't require a comment anymore.
No, what it requires is a period.
Another period?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because this is it's going in a weird place. So let's just talk about this staring at the outline of the shark.
I just changed the he.
The little shark Put crocheted for him last year sat on the end table.
Okay. The
little
shark Put crocheted for him sat on his end
His bedside table.
on his bed. I guess it is a bedside.
Yeah. You don't have to say you stared at it, okay?
Oh,
You can just say, he was so happy then. Or you could even use his name. Pat was so happy then.
Not even remembered.
No. Because obviously he's remembering it. Pat was so happy then.
I took out the when of the when. I could add last year again. Pat was put crocheted for him last year.
Yeah, for him last year. The little shark put crocheted for him last year sat on his bedside table. And you don't need a paragraph, I don't think, to say Pat was so happy then, unless you really want to emphasize it. Okay. What changed? When did it change? He tried to think back, but all that came to him was how every little thing about this man irritated him. He couldn't stand the way he chewed. Oh, that's worse. Or the way he always let go of his hand every time someone else came into sight when they were walking in the park. Oh, he couldn't stand the way he chewed. Let me just think for a minute. Or the way he always let go. Or the way Put always let go of his hand. Every time someone else came into sight when they were walking in the park. He hated how Put never seemed to understand him, nor did he even care to try. They never could meet in the middle. It hurt to think about all the moments Pat tried so hard, and Put brushed him off like it was nothing. Sometimes he was even downright insulting. So hopefully next we're going to hear about that. Pat would cook the only meal he knew how, and Put would scoff at him and tell him no matter how hard he tried, they still tasted like instant noodles. Keep going. At some point, Pat just stopped trying. Then Put's face started to become less attractive. His body odor became more apparent. His breath started to smell. Wow. Wow. Before Pat knew it, everything about the man bugged him. So why was he still there? Pat was worried about living alone. Could he afford to stay in Seattle? Did he really want to adjust to living with someone else? It seemed like a lot of work, so he just stayed. But this couldn't go on any longer. Nobody likes to start with the word but, and it's like an editorial no-no or something, but you could say however.
I think in this case, it's an inner monologue.
Okay.
In a way.
Okay, but this couldn't go on any longer. Should he just tell him in the morning, or should he wait a couple of weeks to see if the feeling stayed? He thought about the fact that Valentine's Day would happen a week from now. Could he wait that long? I would write that.
Okay.
And why would he want to break with him on Valentine's Day? Could he wait until after? Or you decide, would he want to break up with him on Valentine's Day or no? Wait, I don't, either he's going to wait till after Valentine's Day or do it right now. Okay. Put a period. There you go. He was worried that Put would try something crazy to keep the relationship together, and Pat didn't really want that embarrassment. It was better to just rip off the Band-Aid.
Rip off that Band-Aid.
Rip it off.
All right. Ding, ding.
He thought of the words he would say to put in. Wait a minute, I have to read this right or something to make sense. He thought of the words he would say to Put in a couple of hours when they woke. And they floated around his head in a jumble.
Kept floating is, what did you call that? Passive
Passive voice.
Too many words.
Verb train.
They floated around his head in a jumble.
Yeah. Dull morning light started to creep into the room. Pat watched the shadows dim and the wood of the bedside table turn subtle shades of red. Yet another compromise he and Put made. Pat wanted rich pecan wood and Put wanted cherry.
Cherry. Aye, aye, Captain.
Guess which wood they bought. Let's see. Pat rolled his eyes. He had work in a few hours, but first things first. He got out of bed and went to brew morning coffee. That was one thing he could do, and it came out reasonably well. Soon Put moseyed into the kitchen, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. Good morning. Or he probably would say good morning. He headed straight for the coffee and poured himself a generous mugful. Pat watched the steam pour into the cool air. This apartment never did stay very warm on rainy mornings. Put, we need to talk. Put froze and stared out the window at the redwood tree that gave them both privacy and a view of all the wildlife that liked to make its home there. Pat followed his gaze and stared at the squirrel they fondly called Tommy, sitting on a branch happily munching away at its breakfast. It was lucky that it didn't have the same burdens humans did. I know, Put responded and sighed. Why don't you want to be touched lately? Pat thought about it for a bit. Should he tell the truth? Would it hurt more? Tears pooled at the corner of his eyes.
Yet again, less words make stronger
sentences, yeah.
Tears pool.
Yeah. Pooled the.
Otherwise you're suddenly in the present tense and not the past tense.
Correct. Tears pulled at the corners of his eyes. I just haven't liked people touching me lately. I'm sorry. Ooh. Sorry. I'm mad now at Pat.
Hey, you know what? Pat has trouble speaking his mind.
So he does. Put looked into his eyes. Pat was sure he could see the lie, but didn't know what else to say. You had something you wanted to say, Put asked, and headed toward the kitchen table.
Once again, is this one of the moments where I don't need to put asked in? Is that the same thing you said last time?
No, just write comma.
But,
Yeah. You had something you wanted to say. You don't have to say asked. Put headed toward the kitchen table.
Because it's a question already. Apparently I had that problem this chapter. Okay.
I didn't even catch it. Which, I didn't catch it because I still am working on that problem myself. Because, writers.
Yeah,
what can you say?
You all have the
You're
same
constantly
problems.
working, yeah. Pat joined him and squared his shoulders. Yes, I think we should break up. Oh, wait. Pat said that?
Yes, he did.
He just boom?
Right there, yes,
Pat
he did.
joined him and squared his shoulders. Yes, I think we should break up.
Indeed.
Poor Put. I kind of saw it coming, Put said. Why? I feel like we both are working too hard to be in this relationship. It's just no space. Not working anymore. We could try to spend more time together, Put said. We can't just throw 3 years out the window. Look, we're both at fault. I'm not blaming anyone. No, I'm not blaming anyone. Okay, I guess he would say that. It's just, I don't love you that way anymore. Okay, he's going to stop for a minute because it's hard to say this, right? Look, we're both at fault. So here for me, he's having trouble, right? Put has said we could try spending more time together. We can't just throw 3 years out the window. I mean, if I were a person like Pat, who was not good at speaking my mind, I wouldn't be able to say all of this in one go. Is look, we're both at fault. I'm not blaming, I would have said you or anyone, or I'm not blaming anyone. I would leave anyone, that's a fine word if that's what you want to say. I'm not blaming anyone. Or I'm not blaming either one of us. Or something. I don't know how he talks.
Sounds
Okay.
lost in translation.
But I would stop here and have some sort of internal conflict going. Like, you put quotes there. And the internal conflict is, it has been 3 years, I mean, he had do they spend enough time together? I mean, wouldn't you, if it were you, kind of stop and think about that for a minute? It's like,
That's true. When you stop and think about it, you might. I mean, if you're struggle with speaking, you might not say any of it, but you might be thinking about it.
you would be thinking about it before.
And we don't have to be quite so frustrated at Pat because we can see what's going on in his head.
Correct, and then you could say it's just, I don't love you that way anymore. Then he would find courage a little bit when he worked it around. You don't have to write it now. You still have the question here. What happens when if you're watching this and we've edited it, we're not in any means done with the editing process. This is like the first read through. This is our, what do you call that? For first impressions.
Yeah,
Right? The first read through.
the first read through, Mom's first impressions of this chapter. It's always fun to see her reactions.
And then it's going to go through her rewriting it again, and then me editing it again, and then her editing it again, and it.
So the point is, look at this, and then come check out the final product too, because it's bound to look a little different.
It's going to look a little different, and plus you'll find out what Pat's really thinking here before he gets the courage to say, it's just, I don't love you that way anymore. That's a huge statement.
It is.
So he has to have some thinking there.
I like it. I forgot that I could have him
I
thinking.
reached out and touched Put's face. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel revulsion. He leaned forward and gently kissed his forehead. It's time to let go. You know it. I know it. It's time. Pat looked at the tears welling up in Put's eyes. Tears welled up in Put's eyes. This was so much fun.
Welled up in Put's eyes.
He backed off, or he backed away, or he took 3 steps backwards, or he bumped the chair as he backed away, or something. Okay, look, I'll find a place to stay tonight. You can stay here. I'm the one ending this, so I'll start looking for a new place to live. Okay, wait. Who stood up and stepped back?
Pat. Pat stood up and stepped back.
That's who you have to say then. You have to say, because right now we are reading about Put's eyes welling up.
Well, before I said Pat looked at Put's eyes welling up. So
This is what else you have to do. Put Pat there, and then put Pat a new paragraph. So the trick is, if you're looking at something and then you look at something else, that's the reason for a paragraph. So you're looking at Put, tears are welling up in his eyes. Then you're looking at Pat, who stands up and steps back, right? Okay. And so, yeah, that's a good thing to say. Okay, Put just sat staring at his coffee. Okay, that's a word train again, but we'll let it go.
Well, I could just say sat. Put sat. We could remove.
No, you can don't just leave the just there for now.
Okay. Put just sat staring at his coffee, looking a bit shell shocked.
Yeah, I think that'll be okay. We're really through. There's nothing I can do. You still haven't really told me what went wrong. No, there's nothing you can do. Pat didn't know what else to say. If he said more, he would hurt Put, comma, so he chose to stay silent. He walked out of the kitchen and toward a new beginning, already feeling a bit lighter. Pat sat at his workstation, absent-mindedly staring out at the mind-numbing gloom that was April in Seattle. It was surprisingly easy to find a place to stay. A's roommate moved out 2 weeks before. As soon as Pat said he broke up with Put, she jumped on the chance to have someone near and dear to her heart as a roommate. Moving out went relatively painlessly, but what Pat didn't expect was that he would wake up in the middle of the night.
Sometimes.
I take the sometimes out of there.
Okay.
And here is why. Anytime you use these like non-committal timestamp words, you take away the power of your sentence a little bit.
Got it.
But what Pat didn't expect was that he would wake up in the middle of the night and think that Put was laying in bed beside him. And I would make that's a long sentence, so make that a period.
Okay.
And I would say occasionally he would miss, because when you say he would occasionally miss. That's a split infinitive and it's really awkward.
Occasionally,
Comma. He would miss having someone to touch and kiss now that it was no longer in his life. Okay, there we go. Yeah. He knew his mood matched the gloom outside, but had no urge to do anything about it. Suddenly, someone slammed his hands down on the table. There's that slammed himself down.
I love hand slamming.
You like hand slamming.
Okay.
Suddenly, someone slammed his hands down on the table beside him.
I could change it. We could make it something different in this story, like suddenly someone touched his shoulder.
Oh, that's more alarming. Well, I don't know. They're both pretty alarming, but it's just that we just read another story of yours with hand slamming.
Literally, okay. Apparently that's something that goes on in my head. Not that it's actually ever happened to me. I'm not sure anybody's ever actually done that, but maybe I just watched one too many TV shows.
Oh, maybe so.
Someone touched his shoulder. I feel like people slam hands on tables in TV shows a lot.
Maybe they do. I have to watch that and see.
Now everybody's going to be looking for hand
slamming on tables. And I'm sitting there thinking as a mother, did I ever slam my hands down on the table with you kids? Like, stop that right now, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Pat jumped, hands clutching his chest. He looked to see Chot, is that how you pronounce that name?
I think it's Chote.
Chote, standing there. You scared me. Well, you're scaring me. Why? Look, you never smile. You're getting skinnier. I can't help it if I'm not hungry. True, but you love food. I know you broke up with that jerk, which, may I say, good riddance. But still, comma, babe, comma, 2 commas. You gotta eat. This is no good. Look, I'm saying maybe you need a change of scenery. Check out the link I just sent you. Pat pulled his phone out and found Chote's text message. The link took him to a site called Echo Valley Working Ranch. He scrolled through. Chote, why do you think I would like to spend a day, much less a week or a month, working on a ranch? For the change of scenery, babe, it would do you good. Plus, a hard day's manual labor will make you hungry. And maybe he stops and like waves his hand up and down his body or something. I don't know if you have to write that, but it would, he's been talking a long time. Also,
he's chatting. What can you say?
Also, look at the hot cowboys. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to work on a ranch for a month? Okay, totally agree with that. I like Chote a lot. Here, Pat looked at Chote and started laughing. Somehow he didn't think Chote would last a day out there. Pat glanced at the pictures again. One ranch hand stood out. He looked tall, maybe a bit older. He was lifting a bale of hay and made it look effortless. His muscles bulged under the shirt. Pat was intrigued. If that man were there, maybe this working ranch thing wouldn't be so bad. Plus, Put had a point about fresh air. No, Chote.
Oh, yeah.
Chote had a point.
Oh, man, that's a bad error.
That's a bad error.
Dang. Good thing we caught that one. Okay.
See,
that would have been funny. That would have been so confusing.
But remember the discussion we had the other day about names that sound alike or look alike?
Yeah, look at all the names. Hey, nothing I can do about this one, though, because this is not
No, but you got their names mixed up for that reason that we talked about. Yeah. The shapes of words. So interesting. He tapped on the picture and downloaded it to his phone. Wait, he downloaded the picture?
Yeah, you do that. Don't you download pictures of hot men to your phone? Well, I'm not saying you specifically, but people as a general rule.
No, I'm guilty. Guilty.
I mean, so am I, so you know.
I'm so guilty. For the rest of the day, he'd take peeks at the picture of the hot man. The more I'm so guilty of that too. Oh, the more he looked, the more he wanted to see and know. Okay, and then you're still going with this chapter?
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Oh my God, we're going to be cutting this chapter. 1 month later. What a perfect place to have a chapter break. Pat pulled up the website for the 3rd time that week, hoping to see new pictures of Hottie. Pat didn't know his name, so he came up with a great nickname. He had pictures of Hottie on a horse, Hottie wrestling a cow, Hottie staring at the sunset. The more pictures he amassed, the more sure he was. The more sure he was of what? He wanted to meet Hottie. I guess you don't have to say that, really. You don't have to.
Okay.
Pat hesitated. He looked at...
He's on a website. He's looking at the booking window on a website.
You're explaining this to me. I am understanding.
Oh, okay.
Pat hesitated. Why can't you just say he looked at the booking window again?
I mean, that's fair.
You want him to just sit there?
No, my shy. He can look at the booking window. This is fine.
Pat looked at the booking window again and saw that they were advertising wildflower blooming in July. Maybe that should be capitalized, wildflower blooming. I mean, that's what the title of one of their events, maybe. All right?
Wildflower.
Whoa, what? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's probably it could be the title of the event.
Yeah. It looked really beautiful, and Pat started daydreaming about Hottie and the field of wildflowers. Get rid of the comma and just put with no shirt on, because that's how people are going to read it. Oh, yeah, Hottie with no shirt on. There you go. The light would make his skin glow. Of course it would. Stop drooling. Joe's voice came from Pat's left shoulder. At it again, are you? How many times is that this week? I don't know what you're talking about, Pat said. Sure you don't, babe, and pigs can fly. Fine, you got me. I kind of want to go see the wildflowers. I.e., you want to go see Hottie standing in a field of those flowers. I would put those flowers. They were specific flowers. Yeah. How did you... Oh, never mind. Yes, there's that. Then do it. In fact, let's do it right now. Joe pulled up a chair and sat next to Pat. He tapped on the booking window and started typing Pat's information. Here, you finish. Now, see, here's maybe where Pat can hesitate. Okay,
Pat did hesitate.
Well, he didn't need to hesitate in both places.
That's fair.
How did I know that? I don't know. That just wasn't the right place to hesitate. You can do it. Joe put a hand on his shoulder and squeezed. Pat quickly typed his address and put in his credit card information. He gulped a bit at the price, but it was still a lot cheaper than their daily and weekly rates. He figured it was less than what he was spending now on monthly living expenses. He couldn't believe he was actually going to spend a month on a working ranch.
That's the
end of
the
chapter.
Yes.
Okay, so this last little bit was not big enough to make a whole different chapter.
Not currently. Not the way it is right at the moment.
No, and it's got and it flows well. I mean,
Does
that
it?
last part flows really well.
Okay.
Anyway, please, if you liked what we're doing here, hit subscribe, hit a like button. We really appreciate it. And I hope you had as much fun as we do.
We had a lot of fun reading this chapter. Until next time, editing and coffee. More editing, less coffee. But you know, it all works out in the end. Goodbye, dear YouTube people.
Bye-bye.